Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Teri Hunter and I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today to talk about the full moon in Taurus. This is happening on November 15th, 2024, and it's happening at 1:28 p.m. Pacific time. This to me, I think all the aspects lately are very powerful and very influential. And this one is no different because Taurus rules our skills, our voice, our personal history, and how it affected us as we were molded and shaped as a child. But more than anything, right now, I think that this full moon is illuminating our voice. We just walked through a very powerful and, in many ways, unprecedented presidential election. I don't think it's quite over. As I record this, today is the 7th of November. What I think is going to happen with this full moon is that it's going to illuminate something within our environment. It's going to illuminate something that has to do with the censorship of the voice. So let me just pull up the chart and show you why I think this is happening. So yes, we see that this is the full moon is happening on November 15th, 2024 at 1:28 p.m. Pacific time. The full moon is where we see the moon and the sun in an opposition, and the sun's light is being reflected off the face of the moon in its brightest phase. And here we see Uranus. Now, oftentimes we just equate Uranus to unexpected events, lightning strikes, genius thoughts, space, the collective consciousness, the internet. But now, for me, I feel like this is very much about our voice. As I said, I feel like this is where everybody individually and as a collective will want to express themselves and in their authenticity. And we are very much going to be illuminated about how that is being fostered and nurtured in these new technological times. Uranus rules technology. I know that I experienced an amazing amount of censorship for really benign comments that I made on some of the platforms. And for some reason, this is hitting me that same way. The sun is in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio rules power and control. It rules manipulation. It rules big money. The Scorpio Taurus axis is a money axis. And oftentimes we as humans equate our self-worth and our ability to move forward by our finances. And I know that seems like I sort of went in a different direction, but I think that everything that's going on right now has to do with the freedom of our voice, our choices, and our voice. We see that while Uranus is retrograding in the sign of Taurus, it's going through those last degrees. And here, right now, at the time of the moon, full moon, we see it at the at the Mars degree. That Mars degree is about the self. It's about, expressing the self, the individuality of the self. We see that these two planets are making a positive trine to Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto in Capricorn is in the United States' second house of money and the voice. It's just, so for me, as I look at this, I really think that though we around the world are going to be seeing where the power and the control and the structures and the government and the authorities have been maybe holding us back with our voice, with our individuality, with our expansion. And I think that the opposition is illuminating that. Now, this is on not only a world stage, but it's also happening on an individual stage, because I think how this plays out in the long term is the conversation that happens between Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. This is going to be going on for years before It's just Neptune and Pluto in the conversation, and Uranus will move into Gemini. This is like, I think, another 2-3 years away, maybe a little bit longer with retrogrades. I say this because I really believe that we're looking at an opportunity for us to individualize our thoughts, to reflect on our history, to allow whatever illumination comes. Because I believe, not only as an intuitive astrologer, but as a human on the planet, I really believe that our thoughts are things. And that as we focus on something, we create sort of a magnet for the people, the situations, the environment that support that focused thought. And I think that this presidential election very much represents that, because what we saw was a candidate who was not taking no for an answer. There was a great sense of determination over that period of time. So I think that the benefit of understanding where our psychology, where our imprint, where our personal history, Taurus, has inadvertently been the platform with which we make our decisions, or we make our choices, or we give ourselves permission to enjoy something. Because there is the sun. Now let me click on the sun for a minute. The sun is making a really nice trine here to Neptune. And I think that for me, Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, along with Jupiter in ancient times. And Neptune is in the last degrees of its own home before it's going to move into Aries next year. And I think that this particular full moon is giving me an opportunity through Neptune's energy, through my willingness to understand and work with my intuition, to allow Uranus to liberate me from my sun, okay, my ego potentially, and go more into that receptive energy and the energy of my voice, and nurture my voice, the voice inside of my head, the voice that says I can or I cannot. There are possibilities or there are not. The other day I was looking at the word impossible, and I realized that the word impossible, if you break it down, says I'm possible. And that's what I think this full moon has to offer you. I think it is an illumination where you have a deep psychological imprint potentially that has held you in a holding pattern. And now Uranus is going to sort of give you this lightning strike, or bring in a situation that you might even feel a little historic. Taurus, again, ruling history. It may illuminate something that feels patterned. And through the pattern, there is an epiphany, a aha moment. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that up until now, I didn't realize that that was what I was really thinking, or that was what was sitting underneath the surface. And I think that this combination of Uranus and the moon, here I'm willing to meditate. I'm willing to talk to God and the angels. I'm willing to go into prayer. I'm willing to do a vision board. I'm willing to go into ceremony and confirm that I am open to seeing the things that potentially hold me back. The 29th degree is the Leo degree. That's a degree of personal self-expression, but it's also 29 reduces down to an 11. And that 11 is the master number of thought. And the more and more you play with this idea, the more you put a focus on something and you watch how the universe brings signs and omens kind of pointing you in great directions, or various directions, like go this direction, or no, this person is not what you're looking for, whatever, or the situation, the job, it feels very powerful to me. So this illumination and this cycle is going to, for me, have a bit of I'm going to just put me back on the camera. Sorry. Hi. I think this is giving me an opportunity to really set a tone. I know we think of a full moon as an ending because there's that illumination, but here I think of it as the conclusion of something. I've had a conclusion. I've come to a conclusion. And as a result of that conclusion, I have more information to move the story forward. So let me just really quickly run through what house this is going to be for you based on rising sign. And I want to offer this too, because if your moon is in Taurus anywhere near 24 degrees within, let's say, just to be strict, within 3 to 4 degrees, 4 being loose, this full moon will illuminate something very powerful for you. So your sun could be in Scorpio, your rising sign could be Sagittarius, but your moon is over there, or your moon is aspecting, squaring, or even trining. And if it's opposing, then your moon is you were born, you're experiencing the sun moon combination. So look for this, because this will give you subtle clues as to how this could potentially offer you a conclusion or illumination. So for my Aries rising, this is going to be in your second house. Taurus is naturally rule the second house. Again, your voice. Are you using your voice to speak your truth? Are you using your voice to speak your truth to yourself? For Taurus, this is going to be in your first house. And again, depending on your rising sign, if you're a late born Taurus, meaning late born rising within 3 to 4 degrees of this full moon, then this actually makes Gemini a lot of your first house. And I think this is important because, again, Gemini is ruling your thoughts, your speech. So there's something that will be illuminated for you in regards to that, and then allowing yourself to birth that out within your community or on your media platforms. Gemini, Taurus is your 12th house. So there could be an illumination of something that's been holding you back historically, something that has a soul's grip on how you have allowed yourself permissions. Again, we will say things like, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy. But on some level, those are permissions, because when we look at the things we really want, even if some of them are frivolous, we will find the money, the time, the energy to support it. So for my Geminis, I think this is very much going to illuminate something in the realm of your self-worth and how you self-talk. And that self-talk is going to allow you to start to align it to where you want to go versus where you've been. Cancer, this is in your 11th house. The 11th house, while it houses, normally it's Uranus's ruling house, here as Taurus, we're looking at you developing social groups and friends that are aligned to how you think, how you feel. And there may be an illumination of some kind that is saying, oh, it's time to go to the next level. When I think about Cancer and the 11th house of Taurus, I can't help but think very much about home and food. And maybe I'm thinking about, oh, maybe it's time to launch that, that platform and do my recipes or show my gardening or whatever that Taurus energy is overlaid, and bring it out into the world and share it. And if it isn't birthed on the internet, then it's birthed within your heart and within your cosmic consciousness. The 11th house is a house that nurtures over time and offers reward. It's where your hopes and your dreams live. For my Leos, this is your 10th house of career, of public status. So there could be some illumination about something you want in the way of making a career move or making a decision potentially that you've been holding off on. And I don't know why I want to say that, because, pardon me, Uranus's transit through your 10th house could have brought a series of interruptions, a series of things that felt uncomfortable, might have made you feel a little exiled or a little outside your realm. Now we're adding Taurus that doesn't like to move very quickly. Pardon me, I'm going to cough again. Taurus likes to nurture something and to move it over time. So there's a little bit of conflict for you here, having Taurus is your 10th house and Uranus hosting or having such a large conversation with this moon, because I think it's going to potentially, it could illuminate something that could bring to you a sense of, I should have done this sooner. I don't think that that's relevant. Don't go to what should have happened before. Just think that you're ready to move this story forward now. Because again, that public status house, that 10th house, there could have been a sense of, I want to say, getting comfortable with being your unique self and allowing that to be birthed out into however people perceive you. Now, public status is not always the internet. It could be your community. It could be the people that you see every day. It could be, the people that you interact with at the yacht club or at the golf club or the people you play baseball with. The change of status that happens is very visible to the community and the people around you. Okay, Virgo, this is your 9th house. So somewhere you could very much find yourself having some kind of epiphany that helps you get out of that slave service. When we look at the 9th house of beliefs, it's an upachaya house. So it naturally is something that offers reward over time. I'm sorry, it's not an upachaya house. It's a dharma house. Pardon me. Dharma houses are 1, 5, and 9. And so when I look at that for my Virgos, we're looking at all the earth signs are going to be, we're going to look at your 1st house is Virgo, your 5th house is Capricorn, and your 9th house is Taurus. So as you allow this epiphany to bring something to your awareness, to come to a conclusion, oh my goodness, there's an idea. And then you use that 9th house, the idea of business and commerce and publishing and branding. You're naturally ruled by Mercury, so you're very verbal. You think, you process, you analyze. And here I think this is an opportunity to have some kind of epiphany where you potentially have been analyzing things from an imprint of some kind. Like if you always think that money doesn't grow on trees and you always think that money needs to be saved or money's difficult, then you could inadvertently analyze your potentials through that lens. And then all of a sudden you have this epiphany and your 9th house supports expansion and wealth. And then you start to put processes in that are based on that versus trying to save for a rainy day, protect yourself from something unpleasant. Okay, Libra, this is your 8th house, Taurus. This is a house of great transformation. It's a house where we experience trauma, and through the trauma, we are transformed. When we look at, it's your voice. I really am so focused on the idea that the Uranian energy with this full moon is about my liberation, speaking my truth, being my individual self, and having a sense of ease and comfort with that. As if, I went from the energy of wanting to be, overly accommodating to realizing that that wasn't really working on a big level for me. Because again, the 8th house is an interactive house with other people. Other people have power and control through their money, through sex, through criminal behavior. And with the Taurus energy, we're looking at potentially a family imprint that's sat underneath the surface of your psychology, of your again, this, I always think a human is imprinted like a cow. When they're a calf, they get this experience and it just sticks. And no matter what you do in life, you don't really ever let it go, but you can actually let it grow. And that's what's going on for Libra. Having experiencing the 1st house and the South Node going through that, there's a strong energy of feeling a loss of self potentially. But if you examine it further, which this full moon could illuminate, is that you've been feeling a loss of self because it's been related to how other people perceive you. And now you're looking at yourself and saying, I want to look at me. Am I proud of what I'm endeavoring, what I'm doing, how I'm moving my story forward? It's a very powerful house, the 8th house. It's not an easy house, but it's a house that can really provide a lot of benefit once it's out of the cocoon and into the butterfly stage. All right, Scorpio, your 7th house of partnerships, but I'm going to focus on not partnerships with others, how you're participating in your partnerships and your voice within them. The sun is in your 1st house. And that is the ego, the self, how I drive the bus of me. And it's illuminating how you're interacting with other people. And I really think that, again, how we speak to ourselves, the permissions we give ourselves. Do I focus on my history? Do I spend so much time in my childhood memories, even if they're justified? They could be horrific. But do they serve moving my story forward, or are they anchoring me? Taurus energy is very anchoring. It wants to build, so does Capricorn. And Virgo's a little more, easygoing because it's processing something. It's willing to move something forward. But the other two, while they're building, there's a drag in the energy. So here, I think for my Scorpios, there's been a drag in the energy of you feeling peace and harmony within your partnerships. And I don't know if you have been looking outside yourself, like that person doesn't bring me peace, or maybe this moon will illuminate how your ego, lovingly I say this to you, is being projected upon your seventh house. And are you standing in balance, ebb and flow, give and take? It's not easy being Scorpio, honestly. Okay, Sagittarius, this is in your sixth house of health and of the mind, your daily activities, what you think about when you wake up in the morning, and how you interact with your pets. It's very much a pet's house. But here for me, I think it's illuminating, being Taurus in your sixth house, it's illuminating what you want to do for work or how you want to spend your days. When I think of the Taurus energy and I think of work, I think of people who are craftsmen. I think of people who, can build homes. That's also Capricorn, but the craftsman is those details, the people that build the cabinets and build the stuff that I love so much, that's so pretty. I think of Capricorn as the plumbing, and I know Scorpio is plumbing, but I think of it in the building sense. It's the framework, the structure, and then Taurus kind of fills the energy. So for my Sagittarius, I think this is really thinking about what you want to do. We could see interior design in this house. We could see chef. We could see growing sustainable goods and services. There's going to be some illumination that I think is going to be very transforming for you, in the sense of, oh, I want to do that. Or, oh, I want to expand here. Or, there's something. If we think about Taurus is your sixth house for Sagittarius, then we go into Gemini being your seventh house. And then we're going to see Cancer in your eighth house. And when Cancer is your eighth house, but when Jupiter moves from your seventh house into your eighth house of other people's money, through any epiphanies you have, and then nurture in your sixth house of Taurus, you could see yourself expanding clients and doing more work and enjoying that more. So if the epiphany is, oh, this hasn't been working, or, oh, I need to realign, don't let yourself get too worked up about it. Capricorn, this is your fifth house. And again, I want to say this is a Dharma house. So this is a house that rewards for past life deeds that you've done in some way, or something you've done that you deserve a reward for. The fifth house is a house of pleasure and fun and of enjoyment. It's where romance lives, and this sort of romance that it has not been dinged quite yet. It still has a sort of naive element to it. So I really want to offer you an opportunity to kind of let the baby goat out, and play a little, and maybe even realign how you are allowing yourself, speaking your voice, giving yourself permission to spend time in pleasure. I know a lot of people that, work 5 days a week and then spend the weekends, doing laundry, cleaning their house. And none of that's really fun, but it's nice, you get your stuff done, but there is time to just let your hair down and be you. And that could be just sitting down and doing a crossword puzzle. I'm not sure, but whatever this illumination is going to be, it's going to be about nurturing yourself more and allowing yourself to feel more rooted in that pleasure, as if it is valuable time versus wasted time, because Capricorn can feel, if they're not productive, that things are wasted. And that's kind of a shame. Aquarius, this is your fourth house of home. Now let's double down on that, because we're looking at history from Taurus, family history from Taurus. We're looking at the fourth house representing your home environment. So you could have an aha moment about how your home environment has affected your choices moving forward. And you could, in many ways, look at that energy, because Aquarius, you're starting to feel, Pluto's coming into your first house. It's already in your any minute now, it's going to be in your first house. It's the 15th today, and I think it's the 19th when Pluto moves into your first house. So You could have a lot of epiphanies, revelations. You could be more and more aware of that deep psychology that has somehow held you back. A full moon for me, while it illuminates, I don't know that it brings an ending for me. I can't find a die-hard ending. So that's where I go to this conclusion. This, oh my gosh, I get it now. So it is the end of something, but it's not necessarily a physical thing. So here, this could be you recognizing your need to nurture, to actually spend time meditating to help yourself not feel so nervous and so uneasy. We also see your ruling planet in conjunction with this moon in your fourth house. So there's a double down on this liberating yourself from something that is an imprint from your childhood, Okay, now Pisces, our final sign. This is your third house. This is double down on the voice for me, because the third house rules what I speak, what I teach, what I absorb within the media, and how I spend my day on my emails and la la la. I think that this is going to give you an opportunity potentially to see where you might be escaping using your voice. Sometimes outside circumstances make us want to withdraw, to go into our bedroom and hide away from the world. And yet at the same time, that very sort of challenging illumination has the seeds of great power and great purpose for you. So I want to offer this to you, my Pisces rising. As you look within and you tap into your voice and your creativity through your voice, I think you'll find a lot of fulfillment. And maybe it isn't about how long it's fulfilling, but just taking those little moments at a time. And that could be the epiphany. Because that third house, again, it rules our childhood. It rules our interaction with other people. Like in the first two houses, we spend time at home crawling around and with our mom and our dad. And when we get to the third house, we start nursery school or whatever, preschool and grammar school, and we start interacting with others, and we learn how other people think, how they speak, how, one family does one thing in the morning and another does another. And so here, I think that this is going to illuminate on some level the diversity that you've experienced, but also give you an opportunity to use that voice to capitalize on that diversity. Okay, that's it for the full moon in Taurus. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I am an intuitive astrologer. If you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is below, and just reach out and I'll send you all the particulars. Thanks so much. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.